Tommy Rooker.
Here.
Shirley Myers.
Here.
Charles Maynard.
Present.
David Langford.
Here.
Daniel Elder.
Present.
All members present and accounted for.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. I guess we already did that. Let's have a motion to approve the minutes of the August 24 meeting.
Motion by David Langford, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Second by Daniel Elder, and I'll call the roll for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Tommy Rooker.
Yay.
Shirley Myers.
Yes.
Charles Maynard.
Yes.
David Langford.
Yes.
Daniel Elder.
Yes.
Okay. All right, then in that case, we'll close the meeting for the public hearing to consider the following requests. Variance requests for 2 proposed new lots located on Duck Street. The requests are as follows. Each proposed new lot, Lot 4 and 5 of the proposed Oak subdivision, would request a 15-foot front setback variance. It's the Campbell request.
Thank you, Charles, and if you don't mind, I'll ask at this time, is there anyone here from the public, not Mr. Campbell, because you'll have your chance to address it in the consideration. Are there any members of the public that wishes to speak during the public hearing? Mr. Chairman, I'm going to let the record show that there was no public comment regarding this request one way or the other. And now, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, would you please close the public hearing and reopen the BZA?
Okay, we'll do that. We'll close the public hearing and we'll reopen the BZA meeting.
And so, Mr. Chairman, we'll continue with the consideration of a variance request for 2 proposed new lots located on Doak Street. The requests, again, are as follows. Lot 4 and 5 of the proposed Doak subdivision would request a 15-foot front setback variance. And since we do have a couple of new members on the board, basically I'll explain what that means. If you'll look at this subdivision plat that is.
I know where this property is. I live near it.
Yes, ma'am. And so, if you'll see, each one of them has a building envelope.
Correct.
That is where you can build the structure according to our zoning ordinance.
And this is where it should be from the street.
Yes, from the
30 or 40 feet on this.
30 feet from the established right.
Gotcha.
Okay. So what Mr. Campbell is asking is that we give him a variance to allow him to build along here.
Does he not have enough land to go by the regulation?
Well, that is something that we'll need to ask him. I'm just simply stating what his.
I know why he wanted a variance.
What's that?
Why did he want a variance if he has enough land?
Well, that's something that we'll ask him here in just a second. I'm just simply explaining what he's asking for.
I know where this lot, this house,
Yes.
everything is.
Yeah, and so one of the reasons that Mr. Campbell is requesting this is because there is already an existing structure that is located on Doak Street, which is over the front setback. And I certainly don't want to speak for Mr. Campbell, but what I'm imagining he's going to say to us is that I'm not creating a situation that is not already existing on another lot. That's what I would imagine he'd say. So, Mr. Chairman, does anybody else have any questions about what the request is? And then we'll get to Mr. Campbell here in just a second. All right, Mr. Chairman, no questions at this time from the members regarding what the actual request is for. So if you like, I'll ask Cody Campbell to come up and speak with us.
Please do.
Okay, Mr. Campbell.
Evening. So the reason I'm proposing is this variance is for several reasons. One, we've had to fill the front of these lots just to give us buildable land. Yes, we've got enough land, but we've got to build out of that area that's that low spot so it doesn't flood. The second reason I want to do this is really to give uniformity to Doak Street. We've got 2 structures. One is on lot 6 of this subdivision, that's pre-existing and the one that's owned by Brian Jeffrey, or Jeffrey Brian Jones. With the setback of 15 feet, it's going to allow us to give a more uniform look to the street as you drive down it. And also it's going to allow us to actually add 2 living structures to these lots with the fill lot that we have already. There's been lots of concerns of water, and we're trying not to fill any more property back there. Now, the single-family houses that I propose to build on these has a 7-foot front porch, which is where this will start. So the actual house structure will start 23 feet back from my property line. So in all reality, it'll just be 7 more feet forward of the actual house structure. With the fill that we've done, the front porch will still be 46 feet. We've measured from the actual current road to our first pin of the property line, and then to the 15 feet. It'll be 46 feet back from the current road that exists right now. So it's still going to be a good ways back. I know there's lots of concern because of that first house, because it is right on the road. But because that road kind of bows out a little bit or U's out, it'll allow us to use these 2 properties and put 2 single-family houses on this property and also make it look more of a uniform street as opposed to 2 right on the corner and 2 set way back.
Questions for Mr. Campbell?
Do you consider this a hardship?
A hardship?
A hardship of building homes?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Well, the information we've got is the variance is based on whether or not it presents a hardship to the developer or owner. And I understand you're wanting to make them uniform, but those houses are pretty close to the street and more of a hazard, really as close as they are. But they're grandfathered in, so there's no choice about those.
Mr. Rooker, I'll expand upon your question maybe. I believe what Mr. Rooker's trying to ask you is, if we were not to allow you to build, if we were to deny the variance, with current building conditions, would you consider that to be a hardship?
Yeah, I won't be able to build probably without filling more of the property, which is going to bring up more water concerns with the city.
Has that been discussed with the city as far as additional to create from having to have a variance?
I could probably change the plans. It'd be a much smaller house. In all reality, the real big thing is the front porch and the back porch, which is creating probably the biggest concern. With this, we could probably still build the same structure without the front porch, but what we're trying to do is really trying to make these houses look a lot nicer. And that's my goal. And I've got several plans. We've got 2 plans, one with a shed roof and one with a gable roof, with a front porch, trying to really bring that small town vibe to Doak Street.
At what point from the setback of the road is the living structure going to be?
From the road, the current existing road, the front porch will be 46 feet from the road. The start of the house will be 7 feet beyond that, so that'll be 53 feet from the road.
So the porch doesn't count?
The porch does
in
count.
The distance between a house and the road?
It does.
So if it's 30 feet, or it's supposed to be 30 feet.
The porch
we
should
have to
start.
Start at the house, and we can't start at the porch, we start at the porch.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's the porch. I want to ask you something. For 50 years, that lot's been flooded.
Yes, ma'am.
You said you'd have to fill in more.
Yes, ma'am.
That would cause more problems. Does that mean what you have filled in now will not cause any type of water problems on that lot?
So there's been several avenues that we've tried to go down to make sure that we don't have any issues. The biggest thing is, was it a wetland? Is it actually a wetland? Which we then went to the state level to get that tested. No ground on that entire acreage came back as wetland. So because of that, it came back as just a normal building permit, a normal building lot, which then we could do, as long as we had a building permit, we could do anything, and filled dirt does not require that. Now, there is concern with that area always being wet. Since I've been here 3.5 years, and 2 years ago we had the flood waters come up in the pond off the bypass as high as I've ever seen it, up kind of to the four-way. The little house on Doak was not flooded at that time. So where we built up was the same level as that house, the pre-existing structure on lot 6. And so we shouldn't really have any issues there with that. And I've gotten with Christian multiple times with this. Of course, any water that comes off of that property now, since it's in my ownership, is now my responsibility, and I take responsibility for that. Most of the water does trickle down toward Preston Street. Everything slants down there, and I think the biggest concern was with Christian and the street department about the other 2 lots, about building on there, because if we fill any more, there could be potential problems. No one knows what it would do if we were to fill it. And I think that's why where we're at now, we're okay, because it's not flooded where the filled dirt is.
Cody, can you just explain one more time, just so I'm clear?
Yes, sir.
Porch will be 46 feet from the edge of the pavement?
So right now, because we filled in, from my lot to the street is 31 feet.
Okay.
So if I'm asking for a 15-foot variance, that's another 15 feet. So that's 46 feet from the pavement, the porch will start.
Yeah,
Yes.
and just so the members are clear, the footage that he's using is to the edge of the pavement. The right-of-way extends beyond the pavement.
Right goes to the center of the road, doesn't it?
Yes, sir. From the front property line to the center of the road. And if Doak is a 50-foot right-of-way, which I believe it is,
Yes,
it's 25 feet to the center of the road from the front property line.
So it's 31 feet from what I call the pavement, not the little piece on the side.
There's 31 feet from the actual pavement to my first pin on lot number 5. So if, again, this is me assuming, I think the road would actually take more of a U shape and is on the far side of the easement the right of way. I don't think that street is directly in the middle of that right of way, and that's why I went ahead and measured that. So from the actual pavement to my first pin is 31 feet.
So you have more shoulder on your side of Doak than the other side does.
Yes, sir.
Like a ditch.
Yes.
Christian, if you had anybody come forward or question this or anything?
No, sir, normally
two and three are not gonna be filled now. Does that not change the street department, what they're talking about, additional fill to where a variance wouldn't be required on these two?
No, so the more you fill, the more you push that back, and the more it's going. So we went over and shot elevations, and so from the bottom of the culvert on Oakley to the lowest point inside there is 2 foot difference. So to get to the bottom of the culvert, the water has to come up 2 feet. So basically, to the top of his field is another 49, 50 inches. So that's another 4 feet. So that water to come over what he has filled now would be, somewhere in the 40, 48 inch range. And, so that culvert, they put new culverts out on the road. We just don't want it to get where we're pushing that and making that water go deeper. The further it spreads out, the better off we are. Instead of building up and running back into our culverts that are on Oak Street or on Duck Street. And that's what we're trying to avoid by any more fill in there.
Where do those drains go to?
The whole watershed comes to him.
So the water's going behind these lots?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So the more you put in there, the deeper that's going to get.
That's why I asked where this water drains to. If it's gonna drain right back in behind them, it's still gonna create a problem, isn't it?
Well, as of right now, and I have talked with the people from the state, everybody involved feels that it would probably eventually is going to flood Oakley again because it has in the past. That's nothing that really he's done is going to change.
Mr. Chairman, we do have a motion on the floor to approve the variance.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Daniel Elder. Mr. Chairman, if you'd like, I'll ask for discussion if you don't mind, if there's any more discussion.
Sure.
Any more discussion?
I just have one quick question. If the department's heads knew that I would have to fill dirt to build the houses, would they be more apt for the variance?
Definitely.
Thank you.
Would this set a precedent if we do this because it would look better? Is that not the basis of what we're talking about? I know we've got the fill, perhaps you don't want to fill the rest of it, but
I don't.
others have.
I don't think this sets precedent at all due to the fill element. If there was no fill element, yes, I think we would be setting a precedent here, but due to that fill element, I don't think we set any type of
He
precedent.
doesn't want to go back any further or cannot because of the water problem.
Not only does he not want it, the department heads do not want it either.
And that's why they didn't, but they still didn't approve it.
From what I take.
So Shirley, what we were going by was his written request.
Correct.
And so, we can't come in here and assume what Cody Campbell wants. We have to look at what Cody Campbell asked for. So, basically this is up to the BZA. If I feel very certain in saying this, that if anybody else involved knew that he was gonna have to fill more to keep these houses that he's wanting to build, to move that further back, then everybody would be fine with what was going on. But that's not exactly what he asked for. He asked for more or less an aesthetic appeal by lining houses up, which, those houses are too close to the road anyway. So what he's talking about is his front porch more or less being closer, and the house still being like 7 or 8 feet back. So, you know, so I feel like he can definitely do what he wants to do without having the main structure right up on the road.
If you fill the hole and pond up, it's gonna go somewhere else. Exactly. Just create another problem.
And while I do agree with Christian's assessment there, while he may have asked for this variance for aesthetic reasons, we have to look at it we have to look at it holistically in everything involved. And so I feel like we do have to take into consideration the fill element, and also the fact that due to the uneven right of way there, he's actually got a lot more room than I initially thought. I didn't realize that the right of way, that the shoulder was so big over there. And to me, that reduces the risk of
And that
injury.
That 50-foot right of way,
Yes.
on any other minor street, it would be 30-foot right of way.
Correct.
So, on any other minor street that we're looking at, if it was a 30-foot right of way, he's still further back, you know, than he would be if he was on a minor street.
And the house on the corner that's been there so long was grandfathered in.
Yes, ma'am, both of them. So you'd have one on the corner of Preston and Doak,
One
and one
on
on Oakley and Doak.
Yeah. I got it.
And, you know, and you're right, Tommy, we do look at it as a whole. But, I didn't want to come in here and speak for other people that wasn't involved. But actually, myself and Wayne Peak went to that property, and we discussed this very situation Friday. Now, the other guys, the gas department, they weren't there. So, I feel like if they had, seen the same things we were seeing with me and Mr. Peak, that they would feel the same way, without any question in my mind.
Mr. Chairman, any further discussion? Charles, if you like, I'll call the roll.
Please do.
Okay, a vote of aye or yes is going to be to grant a 15-foot front setback variance for lots 4 and 5 of the proposed Doak subdivision. Tommy Rooker.
Yay.
Shirley Myers.
Yes.
Charles Maynard.
Oh, yes.
David Langford.
Yes.
Daniel Elder.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes, vote of all ayes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Charles, number 6, please, Mr. Chairman.
Pardon me?
Item number 6, Mr. Chairman.
Election of officers.
Look, we don't have a chairman or a vice chairman currently right now. We have 2 new members that this is their first meeting. We can do this now, but we cannot push it off more than one more meeting. So Charles, I'll leave that up to you as to what you want to do.
I would prefer we defer to the next meeting. If
Okay.
that's okay.
Okay, but I would strongly suggest that we go ahead and elect them next time we get together.
Absolutely.
Okay. And number 7,
Your motion adjourned.
Motion.
Daniel Elder,
Second.
David Langford.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Charles.
Adjourned. Thank you. Thank you all.